All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
I like the way your sparkling earrings lay against your skin so brown. And I wanna sleep with you in the desert tonight, with a billion stars all around. 'Cause I got a peaceful, easy feeling, and I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing on the ground.
And welcome back to the X Zone of Hour 2 of tonight's show. I'm Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And of course, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, coming to you tonight on the, it's called Your Hometown Radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. X Zone Nation, my guest this hour is a water medium. Her name is Marlene Waters, and she is a psychic medium. She does psychic mediums readings and channeling, psychometric sensory touch readings, handwriting analysis, reincarnation, life purposes, dream analysis, water synergy energy balance, wellness workshops, and locating lost objects, missing people, and cold cases. Marlene is a gifted water medium psychic blessed with each of the 8 clear senses. She has been delivering psychic medium services for the past 25 years in person, by phone, and at public events. She also has been a guest on various radio shows and podcasts in Canada and the United States, answering audience questions and offering spiritual insights about our purpose in this life and the great beyond. Joining me now from Toronto, Ontario, right across the Lake Ontario from St. Catharines, is Marlene Waters. And Marlene, welcome to the X Zone.
Oh, thank you so much, Rob, for having me on. And I look forward to talking and answering questions and illuminating more information about the psychic gifts and psychic abilities and why we're here.
Okay. First of all, what is a water medium and a water psychic? I've never heard of that before.
Well, it became light to me. Being a fourth generation psychic, I always had some kind of premonitions or tapping into the 8 clairs.
Right.
But then when I was in my teens, I started to notice whenever I was near water or washing dishes or swimming, etc., I would get flooded with images and messages, and it was really elevating the clear senses. And so I started to incorporate water into my reading. So when I do in-person readings, even when I do phone readings, I also do the same thing, where I have a crystal water bowl, and this is over the phone, where I immerse my hand in with certain crystals. So if somebody's asking for wealth, I put the wealth crystals in. If somebody's asking about balancing their energy, or if, they want a love question, there's different crystals that I put in. So when they start asking the questions, the water serves as this instant conduit with the spirit world. And I feel blessed that this became open to me, and that I've been able to help many thousands of people over the years find their soul path, find their inner peace, identify who their perfect partner is in life, when to cut loose certain relationships that are toxic, etc.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, go right ahead. No.
So that's one way I use water. But when I do in-person readings, and this really amazes people, but it works, because we all give off and resonate various levels of frequency of energies.
Right.
So I asked them to immerse their hand into the water, play with the crystals, because they already tell me what kind of reading they want. They want a love question or prosperity or relocation, whatever it is. So I put the crystals in. I tell them, immerse your hand into the crystal water bowl. And I let them play with it for a while and, a couple of minutes. And I say, okay, take your hand out. And then I immerse my hand. And wow. um, you shouldn't be doing this if you don't want any secrets to be unfolded.
Really?
'Cause it just comes through what kind of a personality they are, what their fears are, where they are in life. And also, I then am able to tap into, for example, if they're asking about somebody who crossed over, they tap in through that energy source. So it's really remarkable. I always have to dispense of the water, and there's a particular ritual, etc. I would never reuse the water with another client. But yeah, so that's how I use water in terms of, my readings.
That's truly fantastic. And of course, crystals are frequency elements because here in radio we use crystals. CB radios use crystals. The old crystal radio sets that all kids that I know wanted way back when, they use crystals.
Right.
And of course, water amplifies.
Absolutely.
So there.
And crystals can also accumulate energy, right? So
Yes.
depending on what kind of crystal you're using, you also have to detoxify in water. And that's where the water synergy and the crystal bowl. I always use crystal bowl. You can use like dancing bowls and Tibetan brass bowls, etc. I don't find them, I connect as well. There's interference, there's static. So I just can presume it's with my energy and my frequency that my soul resonates. So I use the water crystal to also detoxify and eliminate because crystals absorb energy,
Yes.
right? And they
Yep.
emanate positive energy or the energy that we're seeking. But they also can draw, like if somebody has been really upset or concerned or sick or whatever it is, those crystals need to be detoxified using water, right? So that's another thing that I do with my workshops. And I then energize the crystals, which they can use later on. They can carry it on their body or they can put it in their house or anything like that. And it really helps set the mood, alleviates anxiety, or even gives them clearer focus if they are we all are psychically gifted. We just don't know how to tap in, some of us, right? But the crystals will help channel the energy that much faster.
What was it in your life that pointed you into the direction of work that you're doing and helping so many people by the various gifts that you have?
Well, let's put it this way. I was always tapping, like when I was a kid, you know how some kids, they're like 5 years old and it's like, I'm going to be a dentist.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to be a construction worker. I always was drawn to writing, helping people. I'm a good listener, and I consider having common sense that is guided by the spirit world, right? I cut through the chase. What you see is what you get with me. And I always tell my clients, I will always tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So if there's something you don't want to know, tell me up front, because once the messages start coming through, I don't want to offset them in terms of if they can't handle the reality or what is in store coming down the tubes. But it's all in their best interest, right?
Have you found a difference in the questions you're getting asked post-COVID? Or is it the same questions? There's been no change.
Well, during COVID, I was still delivering readings, and that was during, by phone or video or whatever. But I cannot give diagnosis, and I cannot predict somebody's death, and I do not give financial or legal advice because that's the code of ethics for psychics, reputable psychics.
So you mean I can't ask you for the winning Supermax or Lotto
for tonight?
numbers? No, I can't do that, can I?
Unfortunately, no, we can't.
I'll split it with you.
Well, you know what is funny, though, because sometimes, I play Lotto Max or whatever, and the little buggers, they give me like 2 or 3 numbers, right? Like bang on. Like I'm walking down the street and it's like play 4, play 12, play 28, whatever, right? And I'm like, okay. So I go and I play. And sure enough, the three numbers come through. I'm like, can you not master? Like, give me more. Like, but they're just toying with me, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just validation. But going back to your question in regards to, what people, yeah, they were concerned. I found also they were reaching out to psychics because of the social isolation and having the validation from the universal realm, whether it's God that you believe in, or spirit guides, or an energy force, creator, master, mother earth, whatever it is, that they're not alone, even though physically they may have been isolated, etc. Um, Giving them the perspective that this is a transition. We need to go through this. We all signed up for this, by the way. We are living in today's times because that's what our soul needs, right?
I've heard that many times, and I have a problem trying to understand why I put myself in this life. Like, what the hell was I thinking?
You know why? I'll tell you. And sometimes people say the same thing to me during a reading where they're like, oh, come on. Like, my car broke down, my house burned down, my wife left me, my kids aren't talking to me, I'm broke, they're suing me.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell is going on? And I sort of chuckle. I said, you know why? Because before you're born, like once we die, like it's an evolutionary process. And that's what I call the infinity factor, which is another project that I'm working on right now. The infinity factor of being, right? And our soul needs to evolve. And we signed up for this dimension, the third dimension, to learn certain lessons, to experience emotions beyond any other dimension is capable of for our soul. And we feel amazing in heaven or wherever you believe to be after we pass through the pearly gates.
Well, I must tell you,
So,
in the words of Barbara Streisand, oy vey. Like I listen to people like you, who are credible and know what they're talking about,
right.
and I sit here and I'm just, as you're talking about how I planned this, and I'm saying,
What the hell was I thinking?
was I drinking? No, they don't drink where that is. Was I taking a painkiller? No, they don't have pain up there. What the hell was I thinking? But you know what? You and I have to take our first break, Marla.
Sure.
So please stand by, Marlene. And Exonation Marlene Waters is our very special guest this hour, a very cool lady. www.watermediumsynergy.com. And Marlene and I will be back on the other side of this short break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And I must tell you, from my living room, where I live, I look out our front window, and centered is the city of Toronto. So I'm waving to you.
Ah,
There you are.
You
Yeah,
are.
I see you. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Okay.
Against your skin so brown, and I wanna sleep with you in the desert tonight, with a billion stars all around.
If you wanna hang out, you got to take her out cocaine. If you wanna get down, down on the ground, cocaine. She don't lie, she don't lie, she don't lie, cocaine.
And welcome back, everyone. Craig, my producer, came on and he whispered in my ear, Rob, the reason why you came back to do this is because you're a sucker for punishment. Well, thank you, Craig. Thank you very much. But there's got to be a lot more to it, Marlene, than there has to be a
Well-
plan, isn't there?
The way that I understood it and the way it has been shown to me through my meditations and my work, etc., we come to this third dimension, and it can be in this time frame, it can be like planet Earth
Yeah.
or similar to it, where we experience emotion and so forth. But our soul has to develop and process emotions, particularly anger and fear. Fear is that is what is holding us back from moving onward. So overcoming fear is so important for our souls. And I tell that to all my clients. Face it head on, right? So if that little voice is saying, don't get involved in that relationship. Okay, why not? You got to ask, like, you got to argue almost like with yourself, right? Oh, he's going to leave you. Okay, and then what? Well, you're going to be alone. No, I won't. Like, you have to face the fear, because otherwise you're going to be stuck in a relationship that is really not conducive to your evolution of your soul. And we put in, and I call this the shopping cart. Okay, so picture it. Close your eyes.
Okay.
You're up in heaven.
Yep.
And you're feeling amazing. No pain, peace, just total
Yeah.
bliss.
Yeah.
Right. And our creator says to you, okay, well, you still got some lessons to learn before you can move on to like the 5th dimension, 9th dimension, whatever your next stage is. What do you want to do? What do you want in your shopping cart? And you're like, depending on how well you're feeling, right? And you're like, yeah, okay, put in, that my house is going to burn down. Yeah, okay, put this down, put that down. And anything that is like also good, right? Like you want to experience good to balance the joy and the peace and everything else. But that's why sometimes, because you were overzealous when you were up in heaven, Rob. That's the basic line. You're like, yeah, let me get everything done right now. And then when I'm, crossing over,
Yeah.
check, 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 and I'm ready to go to the next dimension.
Well, that makes sense to me.
Well, there you go.
Oh, okay.
And now there's also what I call the 7 exit points in life,
Okay.
in our present life. And that's when we put too much crap into our shopping cart, where it becomes unbearable.
Oh, I know that feeling. Okay.
Yeah. So our merciful creator, God, whatever you believe in,
Yep.
gives you the opportunity to exit this life when it becomes too much. And it doesn't mean suicide. What I'm talking about is a freak accident, something that just came out of the blue. It presents itself. Now, you're like, oh, I don't believe in that. And it's like, really? What about all those times when we hear about somebody surviving, right, or having a near-death experience where they come back?
Yeah.
It was an exit point, and they're like, you know what? Let me go back and finish my tasks. I can do this.
So you're given a chance to rethink it before it's finalized where you don't come back.
Exactly.
Ah.
Yeah. You can choose any of the 7 exit points. And I have people saying, oh my God, I have like a 7. Does that mean the next freaky accident or whatever, that's it? Like, I'm out of here? And I'm like, no. Just like we're born with a birth date, we're born with, I call it an expiration date. Picture it stamped on your tuchus. Okay?
Hold on.
So
Just a sec. Hold on. I'm looking. No, nothing there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the 7 exit points happen before the expiration date. Okay? And some of us choose not to take those exit points, and we just plow through. And with each experience, with each endeavor that we overcome what we were meant to learn and to face and to feel and to process, we're one step closer to moving on to the next dimension, where we will not reincarnate into this world or a similar world, time not being any kind of construct.
But
Okay?
how do we know when we're getting close to that point?
Well, if you achieve, let's say you had 7 things you wanted to achieve
Right.
in this life,
The bucket list.
Okay.
Okay.
a bucket list. But a bucket list from the spiritual side, not a bucket list, I want to go bungee cord jumping, okay?
Oh, damn it. Okay.
First, the soul development and evolution. And we finish everything. Remember, we have the choice. We can stick around because our expiration date, that's not changeable. That's not malleable. That's given. That's a fact. You're going to be on this earth. So if you do everything right up front, like in your first 30 years, you're coasting, right? Like,
Right,
because you don't need to have turmoil because you know how to deal with it. You don't need to feel anxiety or being scared, fearful, etc. And that's why I'm sure you have met people that are so balanced, right? Like nothing really phases them. And they come into your life and they're like, yeah, okay. And they encourage you and they support you. And nothing really goes wrong in their life anymore, right? Like they just be.
Yeah, I know people like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So they've already achieved what they wanted to achieve. Maybe it was just 1 or 2 things. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to come back 6 times more. I just want to do these 2 things and let me coast for the rest until my time comes to meet my maker, right? It's all up to us. We are the ones that make those decisions before we come to this earth. Okay.
Oh, right.
And as I said, we get those exit points. We can take them or leave them.
Now, do you deal in past life regression?
I personally don't do past life regression, like in terms of the hypnosis and everything else. What I do get glimpses of, if somebody asks me where they've been, or if there's something that is sort of tying over into their present life that they need to shed. And even if they don't ask me, my spirit guides sometimes reveal that. It's like, you know what? You've dealt with that in your past life. Drop it. Drop the baggage. It's done.
But
Right?
what happens in
So
the case
share
of
that.
somebody who has baggage from the past incarnation, and they don't realize, they don't understand what's going on, but they know something is going on. It's nothing's working. And if they're not fortunate enough to have heard about you, except tonight here on the show, how do they fix what's wrong? How do they get rid of that baggage if they don't know they have it?
Well, they have to heighten their psychic awareness and their connection with their spirit guides, with God, meditation, prayer, to become enlightened. Maybe they chose not to be enlightened and they just want to plow through and carry the bags for another, lifetime. So it's up to each, and you will know when you have that inkling, like something's wrong.
Yeah.
What's going on? Why am I doing this over and over again? And when that starts to happen, the veil of amnesia that our subconscious has been, covered in when we're born starts to lift. And we start to see the world through a different lens.
Interesting.
And yeah.
Now, what is water synergy wellness?
Well, water synergy, what I do in my workshops or when working one-on-one with clients or in small groups, it's basically using water and its energy to cleanse the esoteric clutter that we accumulate in this life. So if we have, if we report to work or we're in a toxic relationship with a family member or whatever, we keep accumulating that, and it starts to affect our chakras and it permeates our aura. And that's when sickness and everything else can start to fester because there's little penetration. So water synergy is like it cleanses that negativity or that clutter. And I use the water bowls, I use the mallet to create like the sound for meditation. And people can use their own little, mantras or whatever works for them. Or we can all do a collective mantra and we start to visualize and, just to get re-energized from the water. And don't forget, I also use the stones and the crystals. So that amplifies that healing, that peace, that, overcoming anxiety and any kind of negative things that are holding us back from fulfilling our so-called bucket list or our shopping cart, right?
I would imagine that there are some people who collect more negativity than others.
Yeah, that's true too. And that has to be peeled back because that's something, we're going back to that reincarnations thing. They haven't let go of what happened to them in the past. So they're bringing that baggage with them. And we experience certain trauma and everything else in this life. So picture, we're bringing in 300 years of clutter with us that we're not dropping. So, if we want to really make it in this lifetime in terms of what our goals are to leave, give peace, harmony, love one another. Love is very important because that neutralizes, that's the light in darkness. Okay. And I always tell my clients, like, picture a total dark room and you can have like a little minuscule flickering light in the corner. That room is no longer dark. Okay. And that's what we are. We're light bearers in this life, and we need to share that energy, that positive white light energy, to dispel the darkness that is trying to consume. Because I'm sort of segueing here, but I consider Earth the devil's playground. This is his rule. This is his domain. We are just here to shed light and not to fold. That's why we're here. Not to lose faith and not to forget why we are here, to help others through the darkness.
But once again, if this is truly the devil's playground, and if the creator is positive and all
Mm-hmm.
power and all knowing, why doesn't he just get rid of the devil and let us play here on earth where we can grow and better serve humanity?
Well, that's why we are here. We're here to go through the obstacles that the dark side is putting in our way, in our pathway, and to shed as much light and not fold and step to the dark side.
I guess I was
Right.
asking, like, why do we have to go through all this negativity and dark side when our Creator has the ability and the power to alleviate anything negative? And why do we have to have all these different experiences if He can make this all better for us?
Well, he can. I mean, he can wipe the devil out in like a flash nanosecond. Of
But why
course he can.
doesn't He?
Well, because we have to learn how to overcome it. We have to evolve our soul, right? That we come in naive in one aspect,
Hmm.
and we have to gain tools because everything that we learned here, we need in the next dimension that we are privileged and pass over onto.
So it's all part of the
So-
course.
It's part of the course. This is boot camp.
All right,
This
Boot
is
Camp,
for
Boot
our
Camp
soul.
101 with Marlene Waters will continue on the other side of this break. I'm Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And Exo Nation, if you'd like to contact Marlene for a one-on-one consultation, her website is watermediumsynergy.com, and we'll both be back on the other side as we continue right from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, and your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming at classic1220.ca.
If you wanna hang out, you got to take her out. Cocaine. Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, to the greatest show on earth. Come on now. She was born in a fun house. She grew up on a wild mouse, driving a bumper car around the ground, and a big rig from town to town. She sleeps on a roller coaster. She looks like a girly poster. She did both Barnum and Bailey at least 3 shows daily. She's a carnival girl. She's more fun than a tilt-a-whirl. She's a laugh in the dark. She's an amusement park. She'll turn a saint to a sinner, make a loser a winner.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. That is a song called She's an Amusement Park by Band from Heaven in Hamilton is the name of the band. And Michael McCurley is the singer and the lead of the band. And he's also one of Canada's 3 top audio engineers. And I've had the pleasure of working with Mike on several projects, including Creepy Canada. Marlene Waters is our special guest, and the website is watermediumsynergy.com. Have you yourself ever had any paranormal experiences, Marlene?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which one would you like me to talk about?
Well, which one is the scariest that you've had?
Well, there were 2 that come into mind.
All right.
One was an actual physical one,
Ooh.
and the other one was through a dream state, right? And it was like a clairvoyant kind of dream. So the first one, I'll never forget it. That place that I was living in, I think it had been built on like some kind of a grave site or something else because there was so much paranormal activity going on in my apartment. It was like insane. From flying like pencils, like when I had people entertaining, at my place, and
Sure.
pencils would like shoot through the air, like 1, 2, 3, until we acknowledged, like, okay, nobody touched that pencil, right? Nope, it came from across the room. Or, cupboards opening, doors opening, shutting. And I remember I went to bed, I was living alone, and all of a sudden I heard like this sort of, not a gallop, but just like footsteps, but they were not like human footsteps, right? and it picked up speed, and something landed. And I was sleeping on a futon, which was on the floor, and something landed beside me on my bed. It was like a huge, like picture a sack of potatoes, but it was like larger, like it just went thump. And I was like petrified because I heard this grunting and heavy breathing. And telepathically, it was communicating. It's like, turn around, look at me, look at me. And I'm like, there's no friggin' way I'm turning around, right? So I just like stayed calm. I connected to my higher self and I started to pray. And it started to interfere in my ability to connect with God. And I'm like, not on my dime, buddy, right?
Yes.
And I just like continued on, and it like its head. Remember Alien when Sigourney Weaver was sort of looking straight, and that monster, the alien, came
Oh,
in.
right. Face
and
to her face.
right,
Yeah.
yes, and that's what happened to me. And I kept my eyes closed. I said, I'm not going to look at you because I don't know, something inside me, and I believe it was my guardian angels, spirit guides, whatever you want to call it. They were saying, do not make eye contact, right? It was because your eyes are the channel to your soul. So I kept my eyes closed and I kept praying and praying. And I kept saying, get out in the name of God, get out. Your presence is not wanted here, etc. And it jumped up and it left.
Why do you think it targeted you?
I think because I was in that area. As I said, I don't think it targeted me per se.
Okay.
I think it was the apartment. I think the place was haunted. I mean, as I said, there was so much paranormal activity going on there. It was insane, with cabinets closing, shutting, doors opening, closing, and there was no draft. I was the only one at home. So even like when I got up and I went to inspect after this, whatever creature, whatever it was from the other dimension, it came through the portal, right? And the door was locked. There was the chain on the door, etc. There was no other way for him to get out, or it to get out. And I saged and I, said the prayers and I cleansed the apartment, etc. And needless to say, I moved out after like a few months later. I'm like, okay, I'm out of Dodge. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. So that was one. That was real, memorable. Like, I can still remember it, and it was like in the 90s. And the second one was the premonition dream, or the psychic tapping into, where I was dreaming. And mind you, I wasn't doing like readings yet, and I didn't go through like, doing the practice and finding my skill sets, etc. in psychic readings. I was still tapping, but I was already open because there were certain things that I could do and see and hear, etc. during this phase. And so I'm asleep, and all of a sudden I tapped into this individual, this man. And remember that movie, The Eyes of, what was her name?
Laura?
Laura Mars,
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah. So I'm seeing what this guy is seeing, and I'm thinking, okay, it's still a dream, right? And he targeted his estranged wife, etc. And he ended up pushing her through the garbage chute, and it was on the 6th floor. And I saw it all happen, and I saw where he worked, because he was at work before he left. He worked in this carpet factory, etc. I saw the boots that he was wearing, the jeans, everything, the heavy breathing, the anger. Oh my God, the rage. And he assaulted her and then proceeded to push her down the garbage chute in her apartment building. So I woke up and I was just like drenched in sweat. And I'm like, what the heck was that? Right? I'm like, okay, it was a nightmare. I get ready for work, across the street. I'm waiting for the bus. And I look down, and I'll never forget. It was the Toronto Sun. Front page. Guy tries to kill his estranged wife by pushing her down the garbage chute. I'm like, okay, coincidence. So I bought the paper. I started reading it on the subway. And guess where he worked?
Where?
Carpet factory.
Oh, my heavens.
Yeah.
So that's way more than a coincidence.
So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I did tap into his energy, and I really never want to experience that, because it's almost like you're in that body and you can't stop. Well, I didn't know how to stop him, right? I was just along for the ride, and I tapped into that. Why? I don't know. I don't know him. I don't know his wife. I never followed up on it. I just stayed, under the radar.
Sure.
But I was just like, okay, so there's definitely an ability for me to do astral travel in my dreams, and I've done that since, right? Like I started practicing everything else. So, anyway, so those are the two most memorable, if you will. A good psychic experience. I was down on. Do you know where on Niagara Street down by Queen East, and they do all the filming and those big
Yes,
hangars
yeah.
and everything else.
Right.
And you know how it's like really desolate and there's a lot of bridges and dark, and it was, anyways, I was there for an event and I was coming home. It was late at night, and I was on the side road, so I wasn't on the main road. And I'm just driving on, waiting to get back onto Niagara and back on Queen and up and Danforth and home. And all of a sudden, something in the car goes, stop, like just bellowing. And I'm like, I'm the only one in this car. So I slammed on the brake. Just as I brought my car to a stop, I was at a four-way intersection. And this 18-wheeler went crashing through
Oh, my Lord.
on his side. I'm like, if I didn't get that stop, I would have been T-boned right there and then. That would have been it for me, right? So maybe that was one of my exit points. I don't know. But I'm glad I didn't have to experience that.
Well,
So
I'm
yeah,
glad you
so
didn't
that-
have to experience that.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, but I'm sure people have, if they reflect back on certain things that are just so inexplicable, like how did I, manage to get through this or through that or whatever, right? And what else was there? There was another incident. I was coming up the elevator. I already had moved from that freaky, that apartment in Toronto that was like haunted. So I moved up. I was on the 20th floor, right?
Okay.
I'm like, beautiful view, etc. I'm like, a lot of people living in this building. I'm safe. So I'm coming up, and the elevator starts to move like single digits and up, and all of a sudden I got this really cold and just uneasy feeling, and I'm like, what is this? And I'm in my early 20s at this point. And I'm like, okay, something's up. And I started to get terrified. You know, when you are just scared for your life?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I walked out, and it was like an S type of building. So the elevators, there was like 8 elevators in the middle and one corridor going left and one corridor going right, right? Like, so it was like an S configuration. And my apartment was right around the corner. And I turn, and there's this guy picking my lock. And I'm like, okay, well, and he looked up at me. So I just kept walking. Something just said, keep walking, keep walking. So I continued to walk down the path to the end of the corridor. It's like, turn around, and I walk back and pretend like nothing's wrong and say this. So I, it told me what to say, like my spirit guides, my guardian angel, and just said, damn, like I always get confused when I visit this damn building, like pretending like I don't live there, right?
Right.
To throw
Smart.
him off. And I'm like, what now? Come on, angels. What am I supposed to do now? Like, I can't wait at the elevator because he's just going to pull me into my apartment, right? They said, walk to the other corridor. I'm like, okay. So I continued to walk, knock on this door. So I knocked on that door. And it was somebody that I knew, but we weren't friends or anything. It was a young female. So I knocked on the door, and she was home. And I said, hey, how you doing? Because the guy came around, and he was watching. And I'm like, I went down the wrong corridor. I'm like, sorry about that, I'm late. And I'm looking at her like, giving her the sign, like, help me kind of thing, right?
Right.
And she's like, come on in, right? So I closed the door, locked it, deadbolted it. And I'm like, give me your phone, right? So I called the cops. Sure enough, I mean, that guy had picked my lock and he would have come in, but because there was that activity. So I believe my spirit guides and my intuitive sense forewarned me on how to get out of that very, dangerous situation.
You are one lucky young lady.
I feel blessed.
You are truly blessed, and so are we to have you here on the show tonight. And Exo Nation, when we come back, this will be the final segment and the final segment of tonight's show. Our guest this hour is Marlene Waters. Her website is watermediumsynergy.com. And we'll both be back as we wrap up tonight's show here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're listening to us on your Classic 1220 and streaming around the world on classic1220.ca. Don't go away.
Carnival girl, she's more fun than a tilt-a-whirl. She's a laugh in the dark. She's an amusement park. She'll turn a saint to a sinner, make a loser a winner. She'll talk you into her.
Last night I didn't get to sleep at all. No, no. I lay awake and watched until the morning light washed away the darkness of the lonely night. Oh, and last night I got to thinking maybe I should call you up and just forget my foolish pride. I heard your number ringing, I went cold inside, and last night I didn't get to sleep at all.
And welcome back, everyone. Our guest this hour has been, and still is for the next 15 minutes, Marlene Waters. Her website is watermediumsynergy.com. Now, here's a question I'd really like to ask you, because I believe that you have the experience and the knowledge to try and help me make sense of this. It seems that there's a lot more negativity or demonic activity in the world today. Is that just my imagination, or has some portal opened that's allowing all the demons and the negatives to come forward at this particular time?
Yes and no. And the way I understand it, the way it has been shown to me, we as guardians of the light, okay, so we don't belong with the demonic dark side.
Right.
We have become complacent. And we have allowed the fear that they have tried to invoke in us to hold us back from standing up, from doing our part, for not allowing the dark to consume us, whether it's on a micro level or a macro level. Okay.
So what can we do as mortals on this beautiful planet of ours to rid ourselves and to do as much as we can to force the negative powers and the demons back to where they belong, so that we can better, live in harmony? Maybe light a bonfire, maybe toast some weenies and sing Kumbaya. I don't know. It sounds like a nice idea for the Toronto beaches. So what can we do?
What we can do is not to lose sight while we're here, not to lose sight of our creator of the light, to pray, meditate, whatever it is, to foster our energy, to not allow the dark side to dim our light. I can't stress that enough. And how does it dim our light? By invoking fear. You're going to go hungry. You're going to be poor. Remember how Christ even was tempted by the devil,
Yeah.
right? Bow down to me, and this too shall be yours, right? Bow down to me, and your job is going to be safe. Do this, and your family is going to love you. There's nothing on this earth that should come between us and our creator, okay? That is all that matters. So if the devil, the dark side, the demonic, etc., try to erode and take away our worldly possessions, take them. You don't have any power over me. I can't take them with me when I die. You want them? Take them. We have to overcome the fear factor, okay? And once the dark side sees that we are solid, and solid individually, but solid as a group, right? So there's power in numbers because of our energy, etc. And even as Christ had said, focus on me, not the storm, right? So all these distractions, etc., we got to keep speaking the truth. We, you know, we know where we belong, and we also sin. I mean, we're human. Who
Yes, that's
isn't?
right. Yeah.
Right? We falter. But when we recognize that we made that mistake, whatever it was, cheating on somebody, stealing something, I don't know, right? Where we transgressed, learning to forgive ourselves and asking God's forgiveness. And I don't want to get all preachy, but when we're talking about demonic experiences and the portal, etc., our Savior is our maker, and that is of the light. And we are here not to deter, not to sell our soul out to whatever they're trying to get us to do.
I would imagine in today's society that the temptation to join the other side is very prevalent for so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Is this how Satan or the devil builds his army?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the deal, so-called. Remember I said that this earthly domain
Yeah.
is the devil's playground. And it's trying to show God that he can take his souls, his believers, his servants, and he can pull them over into the dark side, right? And that's where even like the transhumanism, and maybe that's something else for another discussion in the future, but with transhumanism, they're trying to control our bodies. So our soul is going to feel helpless inside. Now, can you imagine, like right now, it's like, somebody says, shoot that person. And you're like, I'm not doing that. That goes against my beliefs. That goes against God. I'm not taking another life.
Right.
But now with transhumanism, if they can control your body and you end up shooting somebody against your will, that's how the soul they're trying to erode
You see,
and make it fall.
I believe that we are not ready for transhumanism. We're not ready for artificial intelligence. I think that this is going to be the dumbing down of humanity and society so that these negative forces can sweep us away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is such a blessed time to live in because we, those of us that know we are light bearers and we will never stray from the path. There's this, there's a line we do not cross.
Right.
And the dark side does not understand. You cannot touch the soul. You can even they even tried that with cloning, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to replicate, the sheep, or we're going to replicate a human. You're replicating the actual physical vessel. You're not replicating the soul because the soul picks the vessel that they want to live in to carry out its evolution in this lifetime, to carry on the tools, the life lessons, etc., into the next dimension, right? And this is the shortcoming of the dark side, the demonic presence, or whatever, this insanity that is happening in this lifetime right now, in this era. And it's a test on our resolve. Are we going to fold? Are you going to give in to peer pressure? Right?
No
Like
way.
it goes back to what our grandmothers used to say. If they're going to jump off the bridge, are you going to jump off after them?
Oh, my Lord,
Right.
we must be related because that's exactly what my grandmother would say.
Exactly. Right. So when you ask, like, is it more prevalent now? I think it's more prevalent because more people are being complacent. They think it's just going to go away. And eventually it's going to come down to the battle of good and evil. I mean, that's where it's heading. And what are you going to stand for? Light or darkness?
I'm going to stand for light all I can.
Absolutely.
Quick question for you. A lot of these TV paranormal shows now are focusing on these paranormal groups enticing the evil demons, challenging them, cursing, swearing, using language that I have never even seen, and I'm sure a lot of Marines have never heard of. Why are they doing it? Is it just for the TV ratings, or are they being indoctrinated into the dark side?
Well, let's put it this way. If
Okay.
you have a fire, do you want to put it out with gasoline or with water?
Hey, I'll take water any day.
And they're choosing gasoline. So why are they choosing it? Because they really don't want to extinguish the fire. That's all I'm going to say.
We've got about 3 minutes left, and I'd like to know if there's anything you'd like to share with the X-Zone Nation tonight. If there's any words of wisdom that you could share with us.
What I would love to tell everybody, you are all bearers of light. You all come from our divine creator. Do not give in to fear. Muster up courage to face your fears, because that's the only way that you're going to defeat anything that is trying to bring you down and to make you stumble. Have faith, believe in yourself, pray, meditate, be, love, peace conquers all. Do not forsake your future, your eternal future, by acting or doing something stupid that goes against the commandments of God. Okay? So anything that is negative, etc., put that out of your mind, because that is another way that the dark side is trying to get you to falter. Right? So if you hate somebody and it's like, I want to kill him. Okay, you might kill him. You might get away with it in this life. But you're going to be serving eternity, because you're going to be knocked down notches because you did not pass the test to overcome that anger and find peace, love, and happiness in your heart and soul, and release those that are harming you to him, to our creator. Let him deal with them. That's not your job, right? And Christ even showed that to us on the cross. I mean, he could have wiped out, stopped the crucifixion, everything. I mean, that is like a prime example where we need to surrender, because God's will rules. And that's the omnipotent, and nothing will touch God. We are just here trying to learn to become better. We falter. We're all sinners. Of course, nobody's perfect. But it's what we make out of our mistakes to move forward and be better at it. Let's do that. And let's come together as bearers of light, so that we illuminate in this darkness that we are experiencing right now. And if anybody wants to contact me, you can also do it at info@watermediumsynergy.com. I also do individual readings by phone through Click for Advisor. And I also have a new guide out. If you want to sell your home or your condo quickly, I put together a practical step-by-step guide on how to invoke the power of the statue of St. Joseph. And it's available in e-format and also in print copy. So you can find that on my website.
You also give courses, right? Or teach courses?
I do workshops, and it's not so much about, like a structural educational session. It's more interactive. As a group, we come together and, our energy intertwines. So yes, and I also do how to tap into your psychic abilities, practical tests, exercises that you can test yourself later on. And, once you come into a course like that, whether it's mine or somebody else's, you're already on the path, because your soul is searching. So don't dispel it. Follow your intuition, follow your passion. And if you're being drawn to the paranormal, there's a reason for that, because that veil over your subconscious is lifting. So let's see what it has to tell you.
Marlene, I want to thank you ever so much for joining us. A great pleasure talking to you. And I look forward to the next time you and I meet right here in the X Zone. So until then, take care of yourself. God bless. And thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much, Rob, for this opportunity. And God bless all your listeners, and you for doing such an amazing job for the audience, not just here in Ontario, Canada, but around the world. God bless you.
God bless you too, dear. XO Nation, once again, if you'd like to contact our very special guest this hour, Marlene Waters, her website is watermediumsynergy.com. Well, that's it for tonight, XO Nation. I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. And we're here Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming around the world at classic1220.ca. So until tomorrow, my friends, always remember, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. From everyone here to everyone out there, have a nice one.
I heard your number ringing. I went cold inside.